I'm a little late to the party on checking out ThreeZero MDLX. However, I got the chance to get Optimus Prime, one that's currently pretty much sold out everywhere, and I'm very happy I got this because it's really, really cool. Now, I do need to say, a big reason why I got this is because I've been planning a big video comparing non-transforming Transformers, and where I do have a ThreeZero DLX Bumblebee movie Soundwave, I kind of wanted to get an MDLX because it's more comparable to, say, Super 7 Ultimates, Transformers RED, Revel Tech, Flame Toys, things like that. It's more comparable. It's a similar size, kind of a similar deal. So I wanted to get an MDLX, and I figured, hey, I already have about 200 Optimus Prime toys. What's one more? Even though this one cost me about 90 bucks, what's one more? Why not? It is really cool, though. I am really happy I got it. It is nice. It is definitely nice, but I almost feel like it was a little overhyped. I don't know. It's cool, but it isn't 100% what I expected. I would say it's about 95%, but not 100. And pretty much that other 5% is just me with a stupid high expectation, I guess. All right, so I've got him posed right here holding up the Matrix of Leadership, which is something really cool this figure can do because he has dedicated hands to holding his Matrix. But let's talk about the box real quick, because I like the box. I think it's a really cool design. So it's got like this Autobot logo kind of bordering it. It's got a cool picture of the figure itself, MDLX Optimus Prime. We can see the side just has another cool picture. The back, we've got some more functionalities and things. The Matrix, you know, he's got a gun, he's got his axe. It's cool. It's a box. I do like it. I'm probably going to hold on to this box, so whenever I need to pack him up, I will just put him back in the box to keep him safe, because he does have, you know, some kind of premium quality to it that I definitely think is worthy of holding onto a box to transport him. So bringing the figure in, he is very, very cool. Don't worry, I won't keep him in this Matrix holding pose the whole time. I just wanted to start him off in this pose because it's probably my favorite pose for him, since not a lot of other Optimus Prime toys can pull this off. Tons of other Optimus Primes have guns, have axes, can point, but this one can actually hold his Matrix of Leadership. And getting in close, you can see he looks very, very pretty doing so. Now, if you need me to reiterate it, I will reiterate it again. This does not transform. This is a premium action figure of the character of Optimus Prime. Just like how there's model trucks of Optimus Prime's truck mode, this is pretty much an action figure of a Transformers character. This is not a Transformers toy. This is a ThreeZero MDLX action figure of a Transformers character. Not every Transformers toy has to transform, and even though this isn't a Transformer, it's an action figure of a Transformers character, if that makes any sense anyways. Personally, I think these figures are cool, but I would never, like, just have a non-transforming one when there is a transforming option. Speaking of that option, let me kind of get him in a more neutral stance here so we can compare him to the Optimus Prime I'm hoping every single one of you own by now, the Earthrise mold. So we can see it's pretty much Voyager class. He is a hair taller than a Voyager. Now, granted, this is a leader class Optimus, but he's kind of been re-released in, like, the Voyager framing. You know, it's essentially the size of a Voyager, and I think it's a good size for Optimus. I like smaller Optimus Prime toys from time to time, but I think the size is something I'm very happy with, especially for this ThreeZero one. Especially for the price, too, because it's on the more expensive side, but I feel like it has a lot of premium detail and some engineering choices that make it feel a little bit more worth it. So let's actually go over what he comes with, because he comes with a lot. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and pop these hands off, because I'm going to swap the hands with other ones here soon. So let's just have him with his arms behind his back, like he's just patiently waiting for his next weapon. But right here, we have the Matrix of Leadership, and it's pretty nice looking. It's got a clear blue piece in the middle, it's got some gold, it's got some silver, and you can see he has specific hands to hold the Matrix. And you can see there's a lot of nice little silver dry brushing on those hands. He's covered in silver dry brushing, and I think it's a really cool detail. We can't just remove the hands, obviously. It's thankfully not one big sculpted piece, and the hands are a little softer too, so it's a good way to pop them on as well as get accessories in them. Now, the Matrix can go in the chest, but unfortunately, this is one little disappointing factor about this figure for me. The chest does not open up. The chest is just a magnetic piece And you can see inside it's got some cool detail. You know, it's actually got a lot of detail on the inside. But still, it's just kind of a shame that it's just a magnet, because it's just like, oh, we just pop it in and then put this panel back on. And again, you can see this panel looks really pretty. There's a lot of cool detail on this. We'll get a closer look at this when we get in on the figure, but it's just a magnetic panel. It doesn't have opening doors or anything, and it does actually kind of limit what he can do posing-wise. So for other hands, he's got 2 fists, obviously, because Optimus Prime needs to punch things. He tends to do that sometimes. And every hand has the nice silver dry brushing. You know, it's pretty typical. He has 2 open hands, which are very nice. They're nice open hands, but one thing I have an issue with is the angle that they're at. You can see this is how the hand's going to plug in straight, and the palm just kind of like goes inward a little bit too much. So these hands are better for like holding the rifle. Here, let me plug one in, because I think I'm going to have him hold the rifle next. So we plug in the hand, and you can see it just kind of has like this inward angle, and the hands are kind of hard to plug in sometimes because the stem is on a hinge, so it's a little difficult. But you can see it's kind of like at this inward angle, and it kind of like swoops in, because I'd like an open hand that can kind of spread out a little bit. But it just kind of stays inward, and it kind of makes certain poses look a little awkward, but it's whatever. It's not the end of the world. He does have 2 pointing hands. He's using 2 fingers to point. I will not elaborate any further, but Elita 1 is very happy about that. I just had to. I couldn't resist. But yeah, you get 2 hands that are pointing. And we get 2 trigger finger hands, obviously, because he comes with a gun. And his gun is very large. He has a very, very large gun. It's very nicely detailed, though. Again, it's got some nice dry brushing. It's made out of a metallic color. It looks really cool. And getting him holding his big old ion cannon blaster, whatever, he looks very cool with it. He looks very cool. It's very large, and it's very in charge. What can I say? Oop, I just popped that off. That's one little complaint I have. These hip skirts can kind of just pop off, but thankfully they pop right back on. But yeah, you know, you can see having him, you know, with this gun pose, the hand just looks a little awkward back there. I kind of wanted it to look more expressive instead of just like weird and stiff. But if we kind of rearrange it to make it look like he's holding the rifle with 2 hands, you can see I feel like that was the intention of those hands. You know, not so much for expression, but just having a dual-wielded look to his big ol' ion blaster. It does come with one more accessory, and I actually just kept the hands attached to it. He has gripping hands right there for his big ol' Energon axe, and I love the look of this. I actually display him with this quite a lot, too. It's got this really cool, like, translucent orange. It's not like typical G1 Prime, where I can actually bring it in because I just showed him and I have the accessory set. Typical G1 Prime, his axe is just like an energy axe that comes out from his hand, but this is like this metal mechanized axe that has like these energy beams that emit from the axe itself. It's a pretty cool design. I really like it. I love the little energy hoses for the Energon blades. It's cool. I love the tip. I do believe it doesn't come apart in any way because the hands are soft enough they can just kind of stretch over it. But I will have him hold this near the end. I just want to show that off right now. That's all he comes with, so let's get a closer look at the figure because there's a lot going on. So this Optimus is packed with detail. Let me get even closer so you can just see how much detail this Optimus Prime has. So that head sculpt is gorgeous. The whole point of ThreeZero MDLX is that they're actually like unique original designs. So this is not based on any other interpretation of Optimus Prime except for ThreeZero designer's imagination, pretty much. So the helmet design and the head design and the faceplate are pretty unique. But I mean, that's Optimus Prime. That looks really cool. Am I going to get more of these? I don't know. Maybe if they do a sound wave. But I don't think I have the budget to get more than like 1 or 2. But like the Hot Rod looks really cool. So does Megatron. So does Starscream. They've done Bumblebee as well. They've done a lot of characters so far. I love the Autobot symbol. And you can see the subtle little silver dry brushes. It's got the silver smokestacks. The arms look really cool. I love the kind of subtle like oily look of the black wash mixed with the little silver dry brushes on the edges. It just kind of makes it look more metallic. One thing that I was surprised by, and this is one of the things that kind of disappointed me, there's not a lot of like physical engineering going on. Because I feel like ThreeZero is really good at like sliding parts and more like mechanical function. But this just feels like an action figure. There's not a lot of mechanical function. Like it's like, oh, there's the hinge and there's the other hinge. You know, there's not like any piston sliding or anything like that. And I feel like for $90, they could have put that at least somewhere. It does kind of have something going on in the legs to a similar effect, but it's not nearly as impressive as like a piston or anything. The torso, I love the white. I love the breaking up of like the silvers and everything with that being white right there. Because sometimes they just make the stripes on Optimus Prime's truck silver when I kind of like them when they're white. He does have the yellow on the waist right there, which looks really cool. And again, it's got some nice silver dry brushing and everything. The hip skirts are a little annoying. You already saw one pop off because they're just on little ball joints. But the side skirt is attached to the back skirt. So that can get in your way as well. So that's a little frustrating. But the legs have a lot of nice detail. You can see what I mean. There's not a lot of like sliding function. I was expecting maybe like the thigh armor to slide or like something in the knee to slide. But pretty much one of the only things you get is this panel back here along the back that's on a spring that you can use to get out of your way for the articulation. Like if you have the bottom knee bend all the way in, that's essentially one of the only mechanical functions. And it's still cool, but I don't know, I just expected, like, especially with all this detail, I expected something to actually function in there. I feel like a lot of the budget went towards the paint and the little bit of diecast this has. There's another thing I expected too, is a lot more metal content. This guy is largely plastic, and I actually cannot tell you what is metal on this. Pretty much everything to the touch is not cold, so I feel like if there is any metal, it's probably like in the internal structure, because it does have some heaviness to it, but it's not super heavy. But you can see the detail's still really nice. You know, it's got these little armor panels that move out of the way by the feet. You know, that panel moves, this back panel moves. Maybe the feet are metal, maybe. I mean, the feet look cool. This guy looks cool all around. But I don't know, I just expected more like premium function out of it. Maybe the DLX Soundwave spoiled me a little bit. But, you know, it's an MDLX. It's not as big, and I guess it doesn't have as many bells and whistles. Around the back, he does technically have one more accessory. You can remove the backpack for whatever reason. It just came separate in the box. Maybe that's why it's like, oh, it's a separate piece. You can have it off if you want. You can see some cool like spine detail back there. That looks really neat. But again, it doesn't have like any like detail that's really revealed because it doesn't have a lot of articulation right there. But I think this is just better left on. I think it just looks better on. You can see some detail around the back of the head too with some vents. More vents around the back of the arms. It looks cool all around. It is a cool looking figure, and it's a cool feeling figure too. I don't know, I feel like I just expected something else out of it. I don't know, maybe my expectations were a little too high, but I don't regret getting it. I don't feel like it was overpriced. This is truly a mini deluxe figure. Alrighty, for the articulation segment, we're going to switch his hands out because I want to see him with some different hands going on. Ooh, there goes the hand. So we're going to have him do the point. He's going to do some pointing right there. Ooh, come on. Come on. We're going to do some pointing, Optimus. We're going to do some pointing. There we go. Thank you. It is a little hard to get these hands in. And we're going to give him the axe. We're going to give him the Energon axe because I love this weapon. I think it's so cool. I love when Optimus Prime has an axe. Let's get that extra hand off of there because that looks a little awkward. All right, so let's articulate this guy. Let's see what he's got going on. So the head is like on a double ball joint. So the neck's on a ball joint and then the head's on a ball joint. So you get a lot of range out of that and it's pretty cool. The shoulders have a butterfly. And you can see some detail kind of get revealed right there, which is pretty neat. The shoulder pads can move up, so the arms can move up as well. And there is like, it's essentially like a double ball joint in there. And I know that piece is metal. So it's got like this double ball joint that can shift. So you can like shift the shoulder down, you can shift it up. But it also assists with the butterfly a little bit too. So you can actually get him with some really nice like double-handed axe poses moving forward. That's really cool. He does have a hinge as well at the shoulder. He's got a swivel at the bicep. Already kind of went over the double elbows. You can see, though, a little bit of the elbow kind of goes in, like the armor, and I think that's kind of neat. But, again, it's just like how it's sculpted. It's not like an actual mechanical feature. The wrists, each one is on a ball joint and then also on a hinge. However, that hinge is really limited because there's not a lot of space and it's kind of sunken in. The torso, it does have a crunch forward and back, but it is kind of limited. No side to side in the torso itself, really. It's pretty much just the fact that the waist is on a ball joint. But still, you get some pretty decent articulation there. The hips are annoying because, remember, it's like a ball joint and then a ball joint attached to there and then a ball joint there. However, besides the hip skirts, the hips themselves are on similar like double balls like the shoulders are. So you can have them shifted down, you can shift them up. It's not like a drop down, it's like a double ball, so keep that in mind. And shifting that down gets you a pretty good kick forward, gets you some decent back, but we don't really need moving it back, do we? I know a lot of people like that, but it's not really necessary. Legs move out, thigh swivel. So we do need to keep in mind the knee is double jointed, but just with a single joint, it moves pretty far back, but we do have that secondary hinge as well. So it kind of depends on your pose. If you want the knee bend to look a little bit more natural, or if you want it to kind of work in tandem, or if you just want maximum bend, you want to use the bottom one. So it's kind of interesting how that works. Then the feet are pretty much just on a ball joint from what I can gather. Maybe a double ball joint. I think they're on double ball joints. Yeah, I think it's a double because you get a pretty decent tilt. And then the toes can move as well. But the armor does kind of get in the way, so keep that in mind. All right, so there we go. That's pretty much it. There is the ThreeZero MDLX Optimus Prime. It's pretty impressive. It definitely is. Could it be more impressive? Yes. I feel like if it had a little bit more like bells and whistles with like mechanical design and engineering, I would have been a little bit, ooh, there we go. Thankfully, it's just a ball joint. Thankfully, it's just a ball joint. I did have that happen before I started filming. I was wondering if it was going to happen during, and thankfully it did. I was wondering, you know, how much mechanical function this figure would have, you know, how heavy it would feel. It does feel very quality. Like, this is a quality figure. ThreeZero consistently delivers on quality goods. This is a very impressive toy that I very much enjoy having in my collection. But is it something that I need, like, a whole collection of? Probably not. I don't know. I really love ThreeZero's DLX scale. I want more DLX ThreeZero in my life. ThreeZero, if you're watching this, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I fully plan on getting Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime. I'm thinking about Bumblebee. I already have Bumblebee movie Soundwave. I really love DLX. I hope they do a DLX of like the first movie Optimus Prime, like 2007, because they did a Revenge of the Fallen, and I feel like they could kind of improve that and make it more 2007. I'm really hoping they do that. 2007 Megatron. Oh my God, I just love ThreeZero. They do amazing stuff. And this is a pretty amazing figure. I really like it. Now, do you need to get in your collection? If you love Transformers for the fact that they transform, you know, I can't talk you into a $90 figure. Which is funny because I've made YouTube shorts about get the Revoltech Optimus, but that was more just like clickbait. You know, I can't say spend $90, spend nearly $100 on a Transformer that doesn't transform if you really love the fact that they transform. You know, there's plenty of Transformers toys you can get for $90 that do transform that are very, very intricate and fun. Case in point, an Optimus that just came out this year, the Armada Commander class. I have it. It's amazing. Also worth $90. But this thing, if you like Transformers and you like the action figure aspect of collecting and you like action figures of Transformers characters, ThreeZero is probably one of the best companies out there right now. ThreeZero, YOLO Park, and Flame Toys are my three go-tos for non-transforming Transformers. Flame Toys are model kits, yes, but they also do like some action figure ones, and those seem pretty cool, but I don't have any of the action figures from Flame Toys. YOLO Park does amazing stuff, and I'm not just saying that because they've sent me stuff for free, but YOLO Park does great stuff, but ThreeZero also does great stuff. One of the best companies out there right now. And I'm very much looking forward to making a video just having like 10 or so different non-transforming Transformers on the desk and kind of seeing who does it best. You know, I feel like I have some contenders and I have some ideas and some surprising thoughts that you may be very interested in hearing. That video will come very shortly. But for now, I am going to take a little breather and prepare for that and make sure I'm not missing any other non-transforming toys I might want to feature. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this guy down in the comments below. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.